Extend to each other. So it was really great fun, huh, to hear the voices of great yogis. I actually have some of Tinley Norbo on the website. So we'll just focus with each other. So we're holding awareness. Well, ended that little talk last week. It's very similar, if not almost the same. The co-emergence of awareness as light, huh? Jalu, like that phrase. Jalu, Jalus, the body of light, huh? And we'll extend to our friends on the internet. So being within awareness. So we're now being within awareness, as awareness, and being with another who is within awareness. But we have all these others right now who are in awareness, as awareness, is a most powerful and skillful means to bring forth awareness within oneself and within each other. Or, as it's said, two awarenesses are better than one. And just as self-regulation, the capacity to have self-regulation, can be enhanced by co-regulation. Huh? Because when we have two more, self-regulation becomes a function of the co-regulation, huh? For good or for not so good, huh? Say yes if this is making sense. And there's some wonderful text on the polyvagal, what's it called? Polyvagal. It really picks this up so directly. So just as self-regulation can be enhanced by co-self-regulation on the bodily dimension. And of course all this embodiment influences the body. And the body is part of this whole alchemical process. And self-illumination is a co-emergent process between and with companions, say compassionate companions. It's not quite the same as friendship. The lucidity within one's own awareness the lucidity within one's own awareness as one's own awareness can experience the lucidity within the other's awareness as lucidity. And we've been experimenting with that, haven't we? It is also true, wonderfully so, that awareness awakens awareness both in one's own self, so we'll extend down into the earth, up, palate, sky. Describe it as a rope, the rope all the way down, earth, heaven, our heart's in the middle. It is true, awareness awakens awareness both in oneself and in others. So, as Juliet's sitting here awakening awareness within her own self, and I'm resonating to her, I begin to experience the self-arising of presence. This is the secret of Tantra. To me, this is the truly essential secret of Tantra. There's many different meanings to Tantra, huh? The luminous energy within one's own body can resonate to the luminous energy in the other's body, deepening the mutual embodiment of the light. Deepening the mutual embodiment of the light. Light is awareness, and awareness is light. Radiance, clarity. The attunement to awareness within one's own body can bring forth the attunement of awareness within the body of the other. So as you or I are becoming attuned, to this awareness, this field, this space, this light, energy. As we become attuned to our own bodies, we become naturally attuned to the bodies of others. And as we attune to the bodies of others, to that awareness, that light, that energy, we feel it arising in us. The self-arising of the awareness field in one's own self, and the resonance to the self-arising of awareness in the other's body. Then that indivisibility begins to manifest. The self-arising of the energy, the chi, the shakti, can bring forth the self-arising within each other and can bring forth the sustaining of the energy field within each other. So the self-arising again of the energy, the pulsation, the vibration, the chi, the shakti, can bring forth the self-arising within each other, and that can bring forth the sustaining of the energy field within each other. So as you and I are sustaining this within our own self, we're actually in that co-emergent process. We're sustaining it with each other. Humanness is the manifestation of the light and the energy and the openness of the great space of compassion. It is also true, as Yangtang Rinpoche, great Dzogchen master, suggests, that the great compassion, as he says, the absolute compassion, is a capacity to extend this light, to unfold it into a person's presence in the present moment. We can do that with each other. Then also, mysteriously, into the person's presence as past, and into the person's presence as future. From this place of timeless awareness. This extension not only brings forth the light of presence in the person, but brings forth the presence of the light in oneself. You may have just felt that. Timeless awareness in time. This co-emergent or correlational process of the embodiment of primordial awareness. It's interesting, I may play it later on today, Lama Tarchin was talking Saturday and about this communion that takes place between all human beings at the Sambhogakaya level, in the Manakaya, but also at the Sambhogakaya level. There's this deep, natural resonance, this communion that takes place. So this is a co-emergent or co-relational process of the embodiment of primordial awareness. And this is possible for everyone. This is possible for everyone. Dasein, for the Heideggerian people here. Dasein, Da, S-E-I-N. For Heideggerian phenomenology, and I bring up Heidegger so much because there's great similarity in phenomenology. Phenomena is not the mind alone. Dasein is not my mind, but rather their being, or being there, which is openness to openness itself. Dasein is openness to primordial openness itself. It's amazing. It does take openness to be open to the openness. Dasein is the openness of the human being to being itself. The openness of awareness to primordial awareness itself. It is the light, open to the light. It was like when Goethe was dying, he kept saying, more light, more light. And you can hear it two ways, right? More light. This is the power of contemplation. This is contemplation. The power of contemplation within two people or more. And this is how the Christian Gnostics understood the statement, where two or more are gathered together in my name, I'm there. One of the statements of Jesus the Christ. When we attune to the Guru within our own embodiment, we bring forth this attunement of the Guru in the other. Gu, darkness. Ru, light. Eros, thanatos. Life force. Vitality. Thanatos. Death. Dissolving. The light infuses the mind and infuses the body. Huh? When you do these, I have one here, these long life practices, they're not really to live to 190 years old, huh? They may. But the infusion, they infuse, they bring forth the light in our body and our mind, which is actually really good for our mind and really great for our bodies, huh? The channels within the body, the chakras within the body, can resonate to the channels within each other's embodiment. And we've been experimenting with that with each other, people on the internet, people here, but also Skip and I were doing it very explicitly last week, right? In terms of the arising of the Kundalini energy, huh? And what it means to actually work with the sexual energy, that the power of that force, that earth element, fire earth element, is integrated into the light of awareness, which actually helps open the heart chakra. Huh? It's that central. So the light infuses the mind, infuses the body. The channels within the body, the chakras within the body, can resonate to the channels within other embodiment. You begin to see a little bit how good company is important, huh? Who you hang out with. Or you can actually formulate yourself that you have a very strong container and you can hold that energy, and sometimes it's really necessary to do that in very difficult situations. But it is not as effulgent as the resonance to all these beings that were around, huh? More light. That's why there's a breaking through the vas. There's a breaking through the inner vas, and also there's a brother breaking through the sheaths in the body, where the energy comes through in more resonance. Huh? Some people don't have enough sheets, right? They don't have enough boundary, and they're very sensitive because their light is the emptiness. The empty light is there, but they don't have enough power to be able to sustain their equality in circumstances. Say yes if that makes sense to you. So this intensification of the luminous energy, because it is intense, it becomes intensification of the luminous energy, is part of the process of this embodiment of the light. Jalu. Jalu. The body of light. This unfolding is at times intense. It's the expansion of the energy as light, huh? Chi, Shakti, is energy as light. You know, the great yogis describe how this light manifest as energy. And again, this is an infomercial, but we're really fortunate to have a Qigong master here who understands that the energy is ultimately light. A lot of Qigong people do not understand that. They think it's a physical exercise. You with me? But you have a person like, he's a heart essence Qigong master. Ultimately always working in the heart. Because in many forms of Qigong, in many forms of traditions, the energy, many forms of the certain forms of tantrics, it all takes place below the waist. That's where the part of the heart essence traditions comes in. Whether it's in Chan Buddhism, in Taoist, you see it going across different traditions, okay? And so that capacity, where the source is the heart energy, and yet still you use the dantian to store that energy, is really cool. And so what takes place in Qigong down this morning and what takes place up here is exactly the same phenomena. We use more words and stuff and how you're doing it. And Mr. Ma, Master in Directness, okay? Say yes if you follow what I'm saying. So the embodiment of the awareness is the embodiment of the light. Gazing within, opens the gazing into phenomena as lucidity. Again, Lama Torchen, who says things so well, describe. There's the gazing within into the nature of our awareness. And out of that, one of our themes here, the gazing within, we experience the light arising. And out of that, lucidity here can begin to feel the lucidity there, right? And then non-duality arises within duality. So gazing within opens the gazing into the lucidity of phenomena. Phenomena, or appearance, is lucidity unto itself. It's a very famous phrase. Appearance is lucidity unto itself. So all this lucidity, sea of lucidity. Treko and Togel can be simultaneously experienced. And as Anna was working last time, she described that experience of both the space and the light being simultaneous, which is actually another way of languaging, the cutting through into the spaciousness, the purity of phenomena, and also experiencing the radiance of phenomena. Say yes if you understand that. The purity of phenomena and the purity of the light, the openness of everything and anything is light, luminous spaciousness or luminous emptiness, duality within non-duality, and non-duality within duality. Phenomena, another famous phrase, as the expanse of the Dharmakaya. Phenomena is the expanse of the Dharmakaya. Mm-hmm. Living, here's another statement, living within potentiality of our real condition, within our real circumstances. So we're living in the potentiality, potential space. This is a Namkhe Noble phrase. In our real condition, the potentiality of our real condition, basic ground awareness condition, in our real circumstances. That is the alchemical process, right, of self-liberation. All these circumstances unfolding. In mind alone, we all know mind alone, right? In mind alone, none of this can be accomplished, nor can it be experienced. The true hermeneutic, and I know you guys have been reading these hermeneutic papers, huh? The true hermeneutic is the mind-awareness continuum, the mind-heart continuum. Being in oneness, experiencing the mind-awareness, a mind-heart continuum in this world and of this world. Say yes if that's making sense. It's quite a view. It's quite a view. In spite of everything, It is really quite a view. What might be, and what could be, and what might have been, what might be, what might be, just what might be, huh? And yet that what might be can be in our life, and what could be, and what might have been. Or Swami Muktananda would always say, keep moving and keep unfolding, whatever and wherever. Then one final statement, and this is where Skip and I focused a bit last week, and everyone else. Without the sublimation of the instinctual sexual energies, the embodiment of the light will not take place. Jaloux. So there's that kind of embodiment of the instinctual energies. Sublimation, right? The power of sublimation. So actually masters of the Tantra are also masters of sublimation. And if they have no master of sublimation, they're not really masters of Tantra. They play with the word. Holding on awareness. So let's focus again a little bit. And maybe we could bring that microphone back over here. And what we've been formulating today, we've been forming a little bit more experiential. So within our group, we've been forming another group, right? So within the group, we've been forming another group, right? And then we keep including everybody from the other group into this first form group. Say yes if that's making sense to you. Mm-hmm. So we're going to go back to doing this. So I'm going to focus on Anna in California. How are you doing? Can you unmute yourself?
Hi, yes.
Great. So we're going to extend together to each other. Be okay with you?
Mm-hmm.
And we're all going to be in awareness field. If you're in mind alone, you're going to be a wire, and you will experience, and we won't experience out of the conjuncio. So we're going to focus with each other. So, Anna, what's happening for you now? What's happening for you now? Can you hear me?
Sorry, yeah, the video froze.
Okay.
So I've been sitting, coming into more spaciousness. I had a lot of experience not having a strong enough container yesterday in the group I was teaching, and there was a lot of phenomena which felt like I didn't hold space or awareness enough, so I felt a bit hungover with that this morning. So I experienced the regulation that you talked about through the talk. So I'm coming back into awareness.
Great. And then as I'm focusing here with you, I'm attuning, but I'm also focusing on my body, that I can feel the felt sense of embodiment, huh?
Yeah.
I'm becoming more embodied. And what's happening now?
Well, now I'm starting to feel my form more. I felt a bit blasted out of my embodiment, so now I'm landing, and I feel weight and definition without it being dense, and there's space inside.
Yes, that is a really great phrase. I'm also feeling more definition. I feel more skin, so to speak, plump skin, and yet I don't feel too dense. Though I have a sense of weight, presence.
Yeah, and I can feel my root chakra being alive. You talked about rising, so I can feel that stirring.
Yes. So focusing down. So I'm going to extend to you now for a little bit more from the inner heart, and you can extend to me. Could be an echo. And what's happening now?
I feel within the form or the space, I recognize the process is as though my heart is being magnetized or pulled out, and I'm being pulled into my heart. So it's kind of movement and light.
Yes. So phenomenology, we have these paradoxes. You can feel like your heart's being pulled out, and then you feel like you're being pulled in magnetically. And this is a natural, but it's not like I'm pulling or I'm not doing this. You with me?
I know, yeah.
It's just starts. It's the natural unfolding of awareness, which is actually wisdom gnosis itself here and now with us. Now we're going to feel our connection. It's always really good to feel the inner connection, because if I feel that with her and she feels it with me, then it'll be sustained. So now we're going to move to the next person, and we're going to stay with this connect. We're going to move to Carol. So Carol, how are you doing right now?
I have been paying a lot of attention to how I, this morning and in other meditations, how I move into that sense of the totality of experience. And it's different. It feels different than before. I was feeling very much more vertical, like
Yep. Column.
But now it feels more like this sphere of light and energy moves up from underneath me
Mm-hmm.
and opens out. And so what I experience internally, rather than linear piece, it's like that I'm filling with light.
Yes.
And that that light extends out beyond any kind of body boundary, and it moves out into this undifferentiated space of light that just keeps moving out.
Yes. Can we stay with that right now and just let our awareness, would you mind, go to the horizon just a little bit? Just let yourself gently feel your awareness go to the horizon. And what's that like for you?
I don't have much of a sense of horizon other than that the light
Mm-hmm.
moves in very gradually into slightly darker,
Mm-hmm.
but there's no edge.
There's no edge to it. What's it like having no edge? No end.
Well, it's interesting because I feel, you would think that might feel overwhelming, and I don't feel overwhelmed by it. I feel very held by it.
Yes. Isn't that amazing that you're actually held? You're no longer the holder, but now you're held. Completely held.
And as you say that to me, there's felt like there was like a shot of light that kind of came up through my body, especially through the base and up into my body.
And stay with this. So now we're going to move to Jan. Jan, what's it like for you right now? What's happening?
When Kira was focusing on the horizon, there was an intensification and and then a relaxation into a bigger vastness, if that makes any sense. It opened up even more.
And what's unfolding now? What's happening now?
I feel a gathering of it's more subtle than Shakti. It's like a gathering in my spine and in my pelvis, and it's connecting me even deeper into the earth.
Yes. And we can always hear the elements in the background, and the elements manifesting and part of all this. And then we're going to move to Mario. What's happening for you now at this moment?
Just really tuning into this feeling of spaciousness. It's really moving around. I feel a lot of heat
Mm-hmm.
in my chest, especially going through my arms. I also am very conscious of my sort of, I guess sort of like what my mom said, like the pelvic and my pelvis sort of
Yes.
a lot of energy gathering there. But then at the same time, feeling so much openness in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Because often that's sort of the case for me, at least. That's where I go to. It's just I feel like there's always sort of an opening that expands up over sort of more of a triangle.
Like a triangle, right? You see that those triangles opening for you.
Yeah. So there's just a lot of movement, a lot of heat.
Mm-hmm. Can you feel us over here?
Mm-hmm.
What's that like to feel us over here?
It's interesting because I feel like I'm in my body in the lower half,
Mm-hmm.
and then the upper half I feel like I don't really have any.
It's like space, just space
Yeah, I
up.
don't really feel like I have any borders.
Yes, open, spacious, huh? Unboundness.
So I have selected, I continue to feeling you. If I want to, I can tune into that.
Yes, you can feel the freedom of choice
Mm-hmm.
where you, and yet there's a givenness to this entire thing. And just keep it. So let's going to move on now to Skip. And Skip, how are you doing now?
There's so much happening all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I can hardly describe.
Mm-hmm.
So, as each person's talked, my experience has shifted some.
It shifts. Yes.
And
There's this co-influence, huh?
and the core experience stays unchanged.
The core experience stays unchanged. Total cool. As we're holding this, I'm going to have you just hold it. Anything else happen for you yesterday as we went through that unfolding of, whether you want to use the metaphor of Kundalini or the unfolding of sublimation? Anything else? We're all staying connected here, staying in the field. Anything else you remember, or you bring it into the present? You can actually bring the experience into the present. That's what's so great about that. You can bring experiences into the present. Anything else that might be useful for us?
So that bulb that I was
The bulb
it's approximately the size of the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's big. uh, and it's just filled, with energy and fire and light,
Mm-hmm.
but it also has no bounds. So it has that sense of hugeness, but it's totally porous. It's totally open.
Mm-hmm.
And as it has been simultaneously flowing up, and there's a flow that comes down,
Down, simultaneously down.
and they used to meet in the heart,
Uh-huh.
but now they both flow through the heart,
Mm-hmm. Through each other.
through each other,
Mm-hmm.
and then radiate. I don't know what the right word would be.
Radiating out.
Out.
Cool. Cool, cool, cool.
And then in that base energy,
Mm-hmm.
um, so words might get rough here. So there's I think the word we used was eros.
Eros used eros,
Eros.
yes.
But there's an aliveness, there's a vitality.
Yes. Eros is aliveness, it's vitality, it is the energy, it is
And,
embodied.
and it illuminates and informs the physical body, the light body. It moves through the channels in the body,
Mm-hmm.
moves beyond the body.
Yes. When we do long life practices, that's invoking that.
And we were working with the distinction between erotic and eros.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so this core energy has no I don't know how to put it, no desire beyond itself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not tintillating. It's
Lascivious.
right. It's just pure vitality, pure movement, pure fire. I don't know how to describe
It's
it.
like to experience it in you. That being. Does it last? Is it lasting for you?
It started. It lasted till my air conditioner broke on Saturday.
That'll do it every time.
And it just totally collapsed. It's so disappointing. Out. But when it's there, it's just everything is. Oh, I know what the experience I was having.
Mm-hmm.
Was for the first time truly understanding being in love with life,
Mm-hmm.
just as life, having a love affair with life energy.
Thank you.
It's just flowing and flowing.
It's been most helpful. Everybody here right now, let's stay awake. And it's really, you don't want to be relating to your mind right now. You really want to be relating to what's speaking. So now we're going to move to Elizabeth. And Elizabeth, can you extend to us here? I think you are ready. And what's happening for you right now? And we'll all be included in this in time. What's happening for you?
I just feel so expanded by each person's share and what Skip just said about being in love with life. It's so joyful. be that expanded and grounded at the same time, to feel embodied and to know the limitlessness, to know it essentially and internally in my mind, in my heart, truly know it as a human experience.
Isn't that wonderful knowing this as a human experience, completely human?
Yeah, like there's no doubt that this energy lives in everything I do, in everything I am. In this moment, there's just no doubt.
We're going to seal that right now. Ahama. Now we're going to move to Lorette. Lorette, what's happening?
For the last couple of weeks, I've
We should
experienced
plug it in.
feeling that
Keep it plugged in on now.
top of my
It's-
head is like an open cup.
Mm-hmm. It's like an open cup. And what's it like?
It's enlivening and inspiring and affirming, grounding.
Mm-hmm.
It dismisses any doubt.
What's it like to feel that phrase, dismissing any doubt? What's it like to actually feel the power of that dismissing doubt?
There's a completeness and an aliveness that's boundless and yet very in that very name. The size of the world.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel protected by this moment?
Yes, absolutely.
What's it like for you to actually incarnate, bring it in this embodiment of protection?
It's so calming. So
Foundationally calming. We're gonna enter this with you if you don't mind. So we're gonna lean into Lorette. One of the most amazing ways of deconstructing the superego, huh, is when we can experience protection, true protection, then the functionality of the superego begins to literally drop away. You're not cutting it, you're not dissolving it. It's almost like the lifeblood has stopped. Say yes if that makes sense to you. It's really, you just want to lean into Lorette. That's why so many of these practices are protection practices, invoking this, shamanistically invoking these dimensions, huh? And I'm going to ask Dan now. Dan, how you doing? What's happening? Can you feel us right now? Can you feel us? You have to unmute though, because we can't hear you. We can feel you.
Yes, definitely can feel everyone. And as you say that, it opens up and lightens up from the waist up. I've been feeling a lot of from the beginning today this calm, this pull that takes me from the heavens all the way to the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And the bottom part of me from the waist down has just been delighting in opening up this dark space. And the bottom part of me just feels like roots penetrating into the earth, just drawing forth minerals and nourishment and strength and power. And it's just been an endless exploration here this morning, just going deeper and deeper into that space and feeling all that power and all that expanse, and it's been delightful.
Great. Let's just stay with that. Can you feel your companions on the internet? I'm just curious. Can you feel Tom, or can you have that sense of Anna? I don't know who else is there. Can you feel those two?
Oh yes, this is very, very familiar with our morning practice where we gaze into the little boxes and the screens,
Mm-hmm.
it just resonates with and light and like a condensio of affection and expansion. Yeah, so this is very, very familiar to me, very familiar feeling. And it's joyful. It's extremely joyful. Yeah.
Great. We're going to pause again. We're going to go to Kate now, because we're bringing everybody in slowly but surely. Kate, what's it like as you lean into this little sphere, SPHERE, being brought forth within the bigger field? Can you feel me here? Can you lean into me? Can you lean into Juliet and me? What's it like as you lean into both of us?
It's both expansion, and I feel an increase of that foundational protection. There's sort of light and energy and grounding at the same time.
Simultaneously.
Mm-hmm. And each person sharing this morning has just been so rich for me, and this awareness foundational calmness. I love that phrase. Foundational calmness. And the protection that I'm quite aware of in that space. And for me this morning, I'm aware of, and I think this is not just this morning, but been building in my process, is more, as Dan was describing, the rootedness and the stability. And
Stability.
that process of feeling the depth into the earth, that foundational rootedness, here I am in this form, in Nirmanakaya, and the beauty and expansion of that luminous light just arising up from the root and just expanding out in quite a profound, just luminous, boundless way.
Would you consider you can never go back?
I can never go back.
But that understanding
Yes.
is like a seal, you know what I mean? This seal is like sealing. I can never go back.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like to feel yourself playing with that power of sealing? Because mostly all, yes.
And the power, it has a kind of musculature to it.
Yes, there's a musculature. It's a great word. There's a muscularness to it. There's a sturdiness to it. You with me?
There's a
Even though you're dealing with these refined substances, if you wish.
Yes. And for me, who I'm very, the luminous light and the heart center, for me to feel very directly that seal of that stability and the depth and the trust in that is very, very powerful for me.
Thank you. We'll hold awareness right now.
And I just feel so much support.
What's it like to know what true support is? What's it like to know what true support is?
It's beyond doubt. It's beyond the sort of machinations of my mind moving backwards and forwards and those, it's
We're going
utterly clear.
to sit with each other right now. So let's lean into Kate. Let's lean into her. Let's enter into her. What's it like as you enter into Kate? Would someone describe their experience? Juliet, what's it like as you enter into Kate? Oh.
There's a magnificence to it. There's a felt sense of entering into something that has total spaciousness and no density, and at the same time, I think she described a certain muscularity of presence, and as I enter, it's as if all of the particles that make up my physicality, as well as the energetic and vast body, the light, they merge together, but there's no fusion. And there's the sense of coexistence and a sense of oneness without any sense of fusion or
Protocol.
yeah.
Protocol.
It's just, and there's an exquisiteness. There's just such an exquisite, gentle sweetness to it, and just being within that that mutual co-emergent presence.
Let's stay with this. We're going to lean into Juliet. I'm going to ask you a question, if you don't mind, if you want articulating experience, because you've just been through another one of those medical adventures.
Oh, God.
But this one was quite different than the other experience.
Yes.
Would you mind, but we're going to stay in the awareness state, and you're going to talk from this mixture, this alchemical mixture you're in right now, where there's difference and cohesiveness. Would you say what the difference was? What happened for you?
Certainly on a physical level, it was pretty horrific. And I just, as an aside, I want to thank everyone here for the love and support, which truly I felt saved my life and got me through an unbelievably horrific experience. But the interesting thing about it was, and as that felt sense of the support and love permeated me, it created a lightness of being in the midst of this, physical assault.
Physical assault.
And yet, as time has gone on, in spite of my physical body not responding the way it was expected to, my sense of presence and being, as you come out of surgery, obviously meditation isn't the way it normally is. But because of the support of this group, because of the presence that I shared with you, it sort of carried me in a way that it eased coming out. And as time went on and it became easier and easier for me to be within the field of awareness, it became very obvious that in spite of damage to my body, there was no damage to my ability to access the field or to be within the light, or in any way there was no damage.
That is quite amazing. It's as if your awareness was sustained naturally and did not fall into unconsciousness.
It's true. I mean, and there were plenty of times when I was physically unconscious, and yet on some level, the field was always present. And so this time, compared to previous times, in spite of a pretty disappointing outcome, I have no sense of damage. I have no sense of ongoing sorrow or any of that sort of thing. I feel damn good. I really do. And my ability to be in the field has been growing with such incredible strength that I feel, and Skip was talking about the arrows of being alive and being in love with life. It's incredible how that's grown, and life is good.
Oh, thank you so much, honey. Just sitting all this energy is coming from. Great. So we're going to hold this awareness again. we'll probably do a group thing in a little bit. I think there's one other person. Has I called everybody who's been called on? Because I'm keep going back to the same people. Has I've not called anybody who have called on? Okay. And then next week we'll continue doing, keep including who? Oh, Nancy, great. Good, good. Thank you. Great. So, I'm going to pass this mic to Nancy.
Thank you.
So, what's happening right now in the field with us? And we're in the field with you. Completely.
So, as a result of the words, the sharings, and the what's happening, like a coherence around an inner and outer coherence, around sort of a holding frequency, vibration in this space of the deep life force and the deep hurting that's in this space. Like that we can hold the whole in that luminosity, in that dissolving of it all, that churning of light, frequency, dark, just it's a feeling of this field in here, and then and the outside field. Knowing today, I think the Dalai Lama is speaking with Obama. There's a the Orlando, having just seen the Dalai Lama, it feels like there's this inner circle here, this field, inside which there is this growing capacity to hold and dissolve, assimilate. And then there's this outside field doing a parallel process, it's, yeah, that's what it feels, I'm aware of.
What's it like to feel these two processes in you and around you?
What I feel tremendous energy and light. I feel a certain building capacity to turn it on, like those switches that you can dim or brighten. I feel I have now much more control over where I want to be.
Now, let's just stay with that you actually can feel efficacy in opening or closing doors or dimensions.
Yes,
Okay?
yes.
Would you make that gesture with your left hand? Just feel the gesture. It's
Yeah.
a great gesture. Feel the gesture. You can feel opening and closing, moderating.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm really happy that's coming to you, that gift. Opening it, closing it, and modulation, huh? Let's just stay with that. What's it like to know that is really yours? You with me? That phenomena is yours. To modulate, to open, to close, more, less.
It's very powerful, and it's also humbling. it feels that it comes with I feel propelled into something new.
It's like coming into a new domain, you know what I mean? Another realm,
Mm.
and you're bringing your good fortune further. You with me?
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay me saying that too?
Yes.
Staying with that. Pass the mic back again. Before we leave this little frame, anybody want to say anything? But not as a comment, just a statement. Just direct. Anybody want to say anything? Yes. And brief.
At the moment that Kate was saying that, and you said she can't go back, the field was opening up for me prior to that.
Mhm.
This whole kind of like awareness of the past, present, and future more clearly than ever, and the realization that it isn't going back, it's bringing forward. And that as we're, and so I understood more deeply that level of what a compassionate piece that is, because bringing our awareness of the now into the past, present, and future is a complete service of the gift we're being given now.
It is service in the truest sense. And just a comment on my own little process. So when I'm saying things like you can't go back, I'm actually taking quotes. I'm taking quotes from yogis and you. So when I do a quote, my confidence is that quote that's sort of like the song from the Song of the Energy, the Song of Awareness. That quote comes from the masters who said that, right? Who uttered that. And we all can do this. We're all just a group of ordinary people. That's why when hearing some of these words that are infused with light, we tuck them into our pocket and pull them out at the right moment when it feels. And you can just know it feels it rises out of us. You with me? That's why it's really great to read the words of great, great yogis and some of these phrases. Much of early Dzogchen was simply phrases. The first writing for the first at 700, and even the Bon tradition before that, it was mostly called it pristine pure. It was just really little statements, little poems. Most of it was through poems and statements. And then later on, as it began to become more integrated into Buddhism itself and into Vajrayana itself, you with me, then you start having more philosophical elaborations. Anybody else want to say anything? Go ahead briefly. Yes, please.
With Elizabeth talking about service, there seems to me that what we're doing has such intense purpose at this time because of all the chaos and the necessity of the chaos to break down the old systems, that to hold that chaos, to be that chaos is part of the whole, and to be able to hold it and embrace it as we do, is beyond important.
We'll just hold what she said just now. Anybody else want to say anything? And then we'll move on. Yes, please.
I've been experiencing so much this morning, but I wanted to tell you not just what I've been feeling now, but also how this group has helped me through my little medical experience. I when Carol first spoke about, or when you talked about the horizon, I looked at the horizon and there wasn't any horizon. And for a brief moment, I felt alone in space. And then the idea of being held created this whole time everyone is speaking. I not only felt what you're saying, but I was soaring, just soaring in this spaciousness and thinking this is what infinity feels like, this is what boundlessness feels like. And just as a quick aside, right before my surgery, I had no fear. I had complete calm, and I could feel the support. I almost wanted to say to my surgeon, don't be surprised if I levitate off the table. Thank you all so much.
Thank you and welcome back. So we're going to stay focused on just two things here. One, I would really like if everybody could read these essays on hermeneutics, St. Augustine, and innermost awareness, because as like Dujur Rinpoche yogis, really both are useful. Experience is useful, practice is useful, and yet understanding. One reason when we hear people talking, they are illuminating experience that we have understanding. And experience and understanding go together. And understanding is not necessarily conceptual thinking, okay? It's not ideation, it's not theory. It is an understanding of knowingness, but it's a non-conceptual understanding of knowingness. And without that non-conceptual understanding, which then the experience will just arrive and disappear. And that's a problem for people when we have the gift of meditative awareness, but without understanding, it arises and disappears. Just like a lot of things in our life, they happen. Oh, what was that? Maybe. But with understanding, the gift of knowingness, and hermeneutics helps us how to understand this and take us beyond mind alone. And so first of all, one of the sources of this is St. Augustine and Phenomenology. So I'd like everybody again, I'm requiring you as the official seminar leader to read the paper. Because no one likes to read, right? You're too busy. Why? But you want read this. You don't have to agree with it. But I want you, or I'm going to have to spend time reading this here, but that's a waste of time. This is actually on the internet, and I'm going to show you something, because posting to me is another pain in the ass. In truth, I don't like posting, because I have to send stuff, find it, and do stuff like that. And I have a lot of time on my hands, but I'm going to do this if we can. Blah. Well, here we go. Just hold on for a second. Password. If we can remember it, we're going to be okay. So I don't want to post. Now, here we're going to go. Hang out. I'm always have a heart attack. Washington. Center. This is your comic moment, okay? Center for conscious, almost, studies. Okay, now watch what we're going to do. I'm glad you asked it. That's my segue to do this, okay? Now let's go to here. Blunk. Okay, now we're going to go to Meditate Live. Holding. Here it is. Here's the website, okay? Maybe they've said this is a new website. Has all this stuff. See this? Meditation videos, professional videos, the journal transmission, which you guys are writing for. I know I'm getting papers in. But if you go to the bottom, you will see something called Facebook. There are papers on Facebook and videos. But there's a little box here. See this little box? You press that little box. Oh, you didn't see the box. Okay, let me go back to the box. I don't want to lose the box. Okay, here's a box. Oh, it's come on now. But this brings you to Academic EDU. And all these papers are in Academic EDU. But not only that, If you put if you sign up for Academic EDU, you can get any topic you want. You with me? And we're going to try and get back to the box. Let's see how to get back to the box. What? Okay, okay. Okay, back to the box. You see this? Bottom of page. There's a teeny little box. There it is. Press that box. And then all these papers will come up for you in 10 seconds. It's like a stack of papers. See the little box?
What's the name of the site? Meditate Live.
Yeah, w.meditate live. This is the website. But this has a little box. It has all the papers. And then you just have to press that box. That's the home page. This is a new page, okay? Okay. That's the box. Okay. Okay. The names of the papers are, okay, so how to read a text. How to read a text. Because hermeneutics starts off with text reading, but it goes way beyond reading text. So how to read a text. And the other one, and it actually has to do with getting beyond concreteness of mind. Because when we're in, you ever know when you're in concrete mind, what happens for you? Nada. Yeah. It's getting beyond concreteness of mind, okay? Please read this, okay? Number 2 is Hermeneutics, St. Augustine, Innermost Awareness. Because St. Augustine experiences the heart essence, very similar to language, the inner heart as the inner awareness. And the relationship of the inner awareness to our mind, right? That's the basic polarity. And how are we looking at this as mind to mind only? Mind to mind is really great, but there's no psyche in mind to mind. Psyche doesn't appear. She doesn't come up. And then sometimes we can be in psyche, but we have to bring mind in to actually experience singularity, right? The singularity. And then sometimes we're talking, and we're just in mind alone, and it can be a lot of fun. But a lot of times when we're talking, as people are talking today, their mind is in their awareness, right? And so all these doors open up, and we're just the most ordinary people. As soon as you think you're not ordinary, you've entered the doorway of assholeness. Actually, George Mason's new law center was named that after Segalia. It was something, Antonio Segalia. So they realized it meant asshole. So they had to change it around. Segalia, he died, and Segalia Scaleo, the original, and actually the initials were asshole. So they had to give it up. But as soon as you think you're special, and we really are special, then we become assholes, okay? So we're going to read these two. So having said that, then also people are writing, because really you've only been doing this 1,000 years, and I would really ask people to get into write. Aaron's writing, Juliet's writing, and to articulate your experience is actually part of the hermeneutic process. The very process of articulating your experience over a topic that you love, you are challenged by, huh? And the part of writing is being tortured. You do know that, right?
Yeah.
So you're tortured a while. You know you have something to say, but you don't know exactly what it is. And it hangs around with you for a long time. Then slowly but surely, you begin to feel something's arising, huh? And then you might have a thought. You might think, oh, it's this, and you impose your mind on it, and it's not it at all. So you're writing out of awareness through our mind and bringing our mind in. A-okay? So let's do a geometry now, okay? You're going to send those writings to me, and then I'm going to read them, okay? You get the poems. She gets the poems, and I get the writings, okay? And you have to decide whether it's a poem or whatever it is. You with me? And then, and then we're going to put up a number of volumes pretty much at the same time, okay? But when you write, you're actually putting something to be seen, and it can be challenged, you know? Now there's one more thing. Today's an infomercial day. This is a most magnificent book.
Sure is.
This book is Good Karma. It's called Rainbow Body and Resurrection. And Francis Tissot, who actually, here's another may come here, but it's a little bit more or less simpler. So may come here in October. He'll be coming from Italy to give a workshop in New York, and he'll come to Washington. And we sort of we like each other. I like his book is basically on the light, on the light, and Dzogchen, and the body of light, and the rainbow body. But he thinks comparatively, and he's also has some mastery of the Christian Gnostics, the Christian mystics, and also, much to the love of my heart, Kashmir Shaivism. Okay? So I'm going to read this just a little to you here. And then this other person I've mentioned, Duckworth, who I'm also going to have here from I'm having more scholars now come, who actually was a companion of his as they went and interviewed all these great lamas who were involved with the rainbow body and understanding the metabolism of the body becoming light. And actually Juliet was describing part of the process just now with what she was experiencing with me. And and so he just says this, okay? And so my own interest in this became when I was reading a text on Padmasambhava by Herbert Gunther, who I love, because he was a phenomenologist, and yet he brought most of the translators were trained from him. You with me? But he tried to express this in phenomenology for Western people. But his phenomenology was so dense, you really had to know phenomenology to get through it. But there's other ways of doing this. So what am I saying? So I'd just like to read this to you. So the Christian component in this transformation of the early Dzogchen into a sublime vehicle. So he starts studying some of this, the comparativeness, that we like to think all these things are simply isolated little things, but it wasn't. Along the Silk Road, there was enormous amount of exchange, you know, and everyone's not necessarily inventing the wheel, he says, of the early Dzogchen into this sublime vehicle that brings the yogi into the attainment of the rainbow body, as described in such detail by Longchenpa. And the kinds of photicism, it's a word I love a lot, photicism, the light, that we find highly developed in the 14th century works of this Enigma master, indicates a brilliant synthesis that has taken place since the early 1000s to the 13th century, because that's when there was the second movement, the 1000 to when all the texts from India, and you start having these other traditions being formed there was this infusion again from Indian Buddhism into Tibet. It was already there. So this kind of photicism that we find highly developed in the 14th century works of this Enigma master indicates the brilliant synthesis that is taking place between the early 1000 and late 13th century, during that which Treiko and Togo practices were developed. In the early Dzogchen, those gazing and cutting through practices weren't there, though they were there in their own way. These practices seem to have borrowed much, and he goes into this a great deal. And actually I have a paper on this also called and we'll have you guys read that next time. These practices seem to have been borrowed much from the Shiva Sutras of Kashmir Shaivism and from the Tamil Siddha teachings of alchemy. Many of the Treiko practices align so completely with the Vijnana Bhairava practices for opening the mind, And these are Kashmir Shaivistic practices, as we know, okay? And some of the photicism of Togao seems to have been taught by another person named Yadbya the Yogi. But these teachings weren't actually practiced within the Tibetan lineages that nevertheless preserved his texts. And so these visions of the spheres of light described for Togao were already suggested in Gnostic texts on the treatise of the resurrection. And then he goes through a number of other Christics. So you start seeing the possibility. I think you used to have a Gnostic master who also was of that this movement around the same centuries, 8th, 9th century, and this emergent of this theology of the light. Are you with me? And so this text is on that. I highly recommend you buy it if you can. It's really, really great, and it'll help you think comparatively and synthetically. The same thing in psychology. If you only study one thing in psychology, you're a ninny. You with me? You're just a ninny. A lot of schools are becoming ninny schools. They only have cognitive behavioral therapy. And you have a bunch of ninnies. You with me? This is... Yes, please. What Frederick said.
So, Marilyn and I studied with a French Gnostic Christian mystic for about a decade. And one of the things that he would really emphasize coming out of World War II and the Roman Catholic Church was to do comparative studying to avoid being trapped in dogma. So his best friend was Krishnamurti. So he studied the Hindu traditions, which he incorporated into his Gnostic Christian frame to avoid dogmatic. And so he'd read from the Bible and he'd say, now here's the dogmatic standard teaching. And then he'd pause and he'd say, and perhaps there's another story. And then he'd go into the Knights Templar.
Cool. So, great. So let's create a geometry today, okay? Also, right now, too, at Lama Norla's monastery, there's going to be the Molam. I think it's the 7th, 5th through 10th. And there's some great masters that are coming there. One MIG, YUR. And he's going to be teaching a text, to me, which is one of the favorite texts of the Kagyu tradition, on the differentiation of appearance and pure being. It's a sublime text. It'll be vast amount of energy, and if you can go, please go. It'll be also a lot of fun. There's a big dinner on Saturday. I would stay at a hotel nearby, get my reservation soon, but it's a celebration of the Maitri Center, and it's also a celebration of Lama Nola's work, and also it's a particular meeting of the Kagyu tradition, and the great siddhas who were masters in that tradition, Thank you, guys. So now let's hold a geometry. We're going to keep doing this way. We're doing this for quite some time now. We're going to keep going one person to another. And so if you just get too bored, you really shouldn't come back. Because it can happen. You don't want to be waiting for Godot. So if it's lively for you, because there's something really useful each person. Because where's the guru come from? Who's the guru here? Guru comes through us. You with me? The light of awareness. It also comes through great yogis, but it's not limited. How can it be limited? So let's do this now. Okay, we'll hold awareness together. We'll leave that here. Let the people participate here. You can sit there. You can sit there. I'm going to turn the... Let me put that right next to Jeff. Yes. That's great. And then you can sit there. And if you're feeling well, someone can sit here. And then someone can sit there. And someone can sit in the middle. Great. Okay. And really and truly, it's not an infomercial, but to be able to hear Lama Tarchin talk on the realization of Durjam Lingpa, and it is really very, very cool because it's most direct. Okay.
Rudy?
Yes, please.
In light of what happened in Orlando,
Uh-huh.
I found myself very much thinking of what Betch from John God's place said
Yeah.
after 9/11,
Uh-huh.
when she called in here to the center and talked about part of this life
Yep.
unexpectedly, that they're very confused.
That is really true.
And so I wonder if we might put all of the
Great
people
idea.
here, as well as the person who, in his own craziness, killed them.
Yes. Great. So
Or
let's
however you wanna
yeah,
let
let's
it.
just do that because it is true. There's a bewilderment, and that's why like that experience that Kate is describing, among others, of that foundational state, or Juliet without damage. True in the primordial, when as you and I embody the light of awareness, and our bodies being dissolved, whether through however the the particular method will be. A nice one, please. Well, however the method will be, you're undamaged, and you can feel this with people who enter that doorway. You with me, because of the grace, and that is why our own extending and prayers and invocation for the dead helps them, just like with Juliet. She could feel that coming to her. The line between death and life, if you're in your mind, it's fucking impossible. Forget it. In awareness, it's totally thin. Just thin. So with that, we'll extend to the people. We're going to focus together on each other first. Let's go back to first ourselves, okay? Because you have to have some power to do this stuff. And this, and again, different traditions have different names, but this one will invoke Doje Drula. I actually have the head that empowerment here. It's like a form. It's like a personal form of the Vajrakalaya, Doje Drula. Doje Drula was also Doje Blinkpa's incarnation of that energy. This helps you deal with violence. Now we're going to do it this way. We're going to enter timeless awareness to the degree that we're giving that capacity, that gift in the moment. But we're going to go to Orlando. This is non-local, just like we go to LA. And we go to that place. At that time, during the event itself, and we extend the light. But we're going to leave the perpetrator out of this particular moment here. And we're going to extend the light. You may even know some of the names, some of the faces. The mother crying for her child. And we extend the light. To everyone and to what they're going through. And you move through the bodies. People hiding in bathrooms, terrified. You enter there with the light. If you want, you can also move towards the police officers and supporting them. As they carry out their dharma as warriors and protectors. Then we go to the families of the people also. Even now. When we focus again on their present moment and their past and their future, the people who are being murdered, I'm also seeing the face of one person who described he was so calm through the whole thing. He was in the hospital of Kshatriya. Then we're going to pause. We're now going to focus on the person possessed, demonically possessed. We're going to focus the light in a moment. We're focusing this point of view from the Vajrakalaya, a releasing practice to release this person. Omohung Vajrakalaya Umpat, freeing him into the light. We'll focus the same light on our city and our country. Extending the light that true leadership can come forth. Amma's coming here, which is really great. So I'm going to try and see Amma one day and go to the thing the next day. But being with Amma is also fantastic. And Amma was describing last year how there are more and more demons, demonic qualities, characters coming into this world. She went into a whole thing about this and how to be prepared and to meet such energies as the light. And also there's Punjita, who also is there. And Punjita is really a fantastic yogi. Totally extends Amma's work as the Divine Mother. And to experience radiance healing. This is about radiance, right? To experience radiance healing is really great. And even to sign up for radiance healing, because that energy is sent daily also. So we'll focus again. Well, next time we'll have to get together and do it in the middle. Let's extend to each other. So I really am happy that worthwhile things are taking place here in a very real way right now for everybody. And not that it's not easy, quite the opposite. Real things aren't a function of easiness, but in the chemical process, especially right now with Mars, Saturn in Scorpio. And Scorpio is such a powerful planet of psyche, huh? It's the dark. By darkness, I don't mean bad darkness. It's the luminous darkness. You with me? And to be able to enter that and use that at this time is liberating for us around some of our most basic holes, our most basic little places, not all psychological. Yes. Let's clap one time. Thank you, guys. See you all next week. Huh? I didn't bring the other book. I'm sorry. The other book is that's Longchenpa's book, and I'll bring that next week. If you're interested, this is a really great book. He's a great theologian. He was just at the California Institute of Professional Psychology, and so he's coming into ascendancy right now, and I think we're going to have him. I'll get the date soon if we can work it out. I really want him to come here. I may have him come to the seminar, because the seminars tend to be a more sophisticated group than people who come on weekends. I don't want him to be pissing in the wind with what he has to offer. So we'll probably have him come to the seminar, and then maybe have something else. But I'd like him to really come where he can do what he can do. When you're having a lot of new people, it's really...
I had a question for you. Do you happen to know the name of Lama Dzogchen's translator?
He's great, but someone knows his name, and it's Patricia knows him.
Oh, really?
Someone knows him here. She spoke to him. He's a really great person,
Yeah.
very humble person. But someone knows him here. I know someone knows him. I don't know who it is. Maybe next week we'll ask. Oh, it's Karen. Maybe Karen knows him. Hey, Karen, do you know Lama Dzogchen's translator? Karen? But you know the one who wrote the book, The Mirror of Wisdom, right? You know, she would know it.
Okay.
You get from Karen's name the person who wrote the autobiography,
And then I can trace it back.
and she can chase it back. We may have her come to. I'm really trying to. We've had wonderful lamas come all this time, and we can always go visit them. But now we're going to start having a little bit of a different as we integrate more and more stuff. I'm going to have you sing this morning. It didn't go that right. Maybe next week.